What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be bringing the Hellcat home, but first I need to clean off the trailer, hook the trailer up, and then we need to go over to the junkyard, bleed the tranny fluid, and get the Hellcat back over here. I can't wait. Trailer is now all hooked up. Now we're gonna head over to the junkyard, and I'm pretty excited to go get the Hellcat and bring it home. Back over at the junkyard, now I'm gonna throw the Hellcat on the lift. The procedure to bleed the tranny or to properly fill it, you have to lift it off the ground. You have to make sure that the temperature is below 86 degrees, the tranny fluid. You put it in reverse, hold the brake for 5 seconds, then you put it in drive, hold the brake for like 5 seconds, then you let the brake go, and then you let it get into second gear for 5 seconds, and then you put it in neutral, hold it to 2000 RPM for 5 seconds, and then you hold the brake, put it back in park, and then you let it idle, and then you fill the tranny to whatever fluid that it needs. So I'm gonna do that right now, and then after I'm done with that, I'll do the riv nuts at home. I got riv nuts. I think they're the correct ones. I ordered aftermarket ones. I just measured the holes, so hopefully I measured correctly. And yeah, we'll get this thing on the trailer, back home, do the riv nuts, and get all that stuff bolted together properly. And we're getting close, guys. So I'm also gonna wash this thing today because it is pretty dusty. It's been sitting in the shop. It's been getting worked on. It's dusty here. So the fill plug on the tranny is on the passenger side on the back, right before the cross member, the tranny cross member. So it's just a little Allen. I think it's 8mm. That's where you fill it. So we're gonna go into the information center first. Let's go to, oops, apps. Actually, I could just hit this SRT button right here. It'll get me this page once it loads, the perf pages. So that's loaded now. So there's the trans temp. We want to make sure that it is below 86 degrees F before starting this test. And there's the intercooler coolant temp. I didn't know there was an intercooler coolant temp. That's kind of cool. So there's an AFR. Man, look at this, boost pressure. I didn't even know there's all these gauges. Oh man, that's kind of cool. So trans temp's what we're worried about. So we're gonna start the engine. We're gonna put it in reverse. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then drive. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then I guess I'm supposed to go let it get to second gear or something. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. Apply the brakes. Then you put it in neutral. Then hold it at 2000 RPM for 5 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then you put it in, then you put it in park. The transmission is now full, and I used 1.75 quarts. That makes sense because the tranny cooler holds like a quart, and that one time I probably lost almost a quart. So now the transmission is full. This really wasn't a how-to because you're supposed to actually make sure there's fluid in the transmission first, which I already knew there was. So really all you do is a procedure, and then you fill the tranny as the engine is still running in park up on a lift. You need a lift to do it. I guess you could use some jacks, but that'd be really sketchy. A lift is actually pretty sketchy as it is. So let's load the Hellcat on the trailer. We are first driving, not going that fast, we're just idling, but first driving the Hellcat. Look at this, man. None of the suspension is really tight, so I can feel it through the steering wheel. It's a kind of sketchy feeling, but yeah, we have a running and driving Hellcat. I mean, I can't believe this. It's driving. It sounds all clunky though because all the suspension, but This pref page takes forever to load. This is a different site, not in the shop, outside in its natural habitat, about to be loaded on the old 350 salvage project. Hell yeah, look at that trailer. The Hellcat is now on the trailer, ready to go home, and I have to give my old boss a big shout out to let me use the shop, Don Sport Car Salvage. I'll put the link to their website in the description. They ship all over the United States and they have a bunch of used parts, so go check them out. But let's get her back home. So we're gonna get my mom's second impression of the Hellcat. The first time she hated it. We'll see what she thinks now that it's kind of fixed, but let's go check it out. Come look at it. Why not?
It's totally destroyed.
What do you think about it?
It's awful.
Why?
Because it's totally destroyed.
You didn't even look at it though.
Oh, you funny.
Yeah. What do you think of this?
I think it's totally destroyed.
The car
All right, second impression of the car.
this is the one you've been working on.
Yeah.
I thought, well, my first impression is I thought it was a different color.
Oh no,
I
it's
thought it was redder.
no, it gets redder in the sun.
Oh, okay.
It's metallic.
Look at the wheel.
Wow.
You're missing some fenders and a hood.
Well, I mean, when they send me like another set of them. Ooh, I almost lost this.
You almost lost it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well,
Look inside.
looking good.
Yeah, it just doesn't have the hood, the fenders, and the bumper. I need to paint them.
What's... What is
Can you sit in here?
That's the emblem. It lights up.
Really?
Yeah.
Cool is that?
Sit in it.
They said it only has 1,600 miles on it.
1,200.
1,200.
Wow.
Jeez.
Too far reclined for
Well,
me.
sit- me
Well, you-
Me too.
I just stuck the seats in there. I haven't driven it yet.
Nice.
Really nice
It goes on the front.
thing. Huh?
On the front, you press it. Yeah.
Oh, look at all that stuff. Nice. Pretty cool.
Yep.
So this is what you've been spending 12 hours a day working on?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Are you gonna
For now.
Everything's for sale, Gina.
Everything.
everything?
You ready?
Don't blow my garage doors off. Okay.
All right, guys, so the Hellcat is now back home in the garage. Before, it was in the garage over here and it was all wrecked and I had to, you know, pretty much drag the thing around. But now it moves under its own power. I pretty much all I could do was start it up for a few seconds before because it didn't have any radiators or anything. It was just super smashed. But this thing has come a long way, leaps and bounds. I mean, I've gone through so much stuff getting this thing back together with just all the shipping issues and just all the issues in general. Cut that scat pack up, but she is back together. But let's get this car cleaned up. It needs to be washed. It's pretty dusty. Been sitting at the junkyard for a while. One thing that I really liked when I was unloading this thing off the trailer was the rotors have started to clean up and they actually look good again. Hellcat is now clean, and other than some overspray spots, I just need to buff. I also need to use some rubbing compound to get these numbers off. A lot of people use that orange stuff, the like the paint stripper stuff, but I don't want to use that. You could just use rubbing compound or polish with a with your hand or with a drill. With your hand, it takes a long time, but with one of those Milwaukee drills, it comes right off. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to probably use some of the rubbing compound to do some of the spots where there's some overspray. On the other side, you can see it right here where it's dull. So what happened was, when I had it covered with the tarp, I was painting the engine bay and it was blowing the paint underneath, and then whatever kind of got underneath the cover just came up and did that. So just some rubbing compound will take that off. Not a big deal. And after that, she should be good to go. There is one spot that I really wanted to take care of right here. It's like a little tiny scuff, but it's not through the clear, so that should buff out. And then on the bumper back here, there's a little scuff right here and right there. It's not through the clear, it's just a little bit of scuff on the clear, and that will come right out with a good nice buff. Just use this little Milwaukee mini buffer. I'll put the link in the description for these. These things are awesome, but got all that lettering from the auction off of the top of the roof. Now what I'm going to do, I had to use the first stage of the compound to get it off. Now what I'm going to do is use the second stage, and I'm going to just do the whole roof and get it all nice and buffed, wipe it off, and then I'll just continue throughout the whole car and see how far I get. Polished all the overspray off the roof. The car is looking good. I'm gonna leave it here. I think that's as much that I want to polish today. Plus that drill, that little mini polisher that I have goes through batteries pretty quick. I do have a larger polisher or a buffer. I really don't want to, bust it out. It just flings compound everywhere. And this thing has so many contours. I may end up pulling it out to do the sides of the doors. But other than that, I think I'll use the mini one for the rest of everything, the quarters and everything. I might use it for the top of the quarters, but I've been using, I'll put links in the description for the stuff that I've been using. I have this old stuff right here. I don't think they make it anymore, but it, man, it just brings out paint. That stuff is the best stuff. So yeah, look at that roof. Look how nice it is. So the whole car, I'm gonna buff the whole car just so it is nice. And I'm also going to, I was thinking about having it ceramic coated, but there are some flaws on the other side on the door. I could repaint the door. I may end up doing that. I'm not exactly sure though. It's just one of those things. I may end up doing it. I may not. But yeah, this thing is gonna look super, super nice. And it's gonna be fast. So this is gonna be the fastest car I probably own. 700 horse. The FD, once it's tuned to 500 horse, it might be pretty close because it's a lot lighter, but this thing's gonna be a monster. Before I can paint the Hellcat bumper, I noticed when I moved it that it has the little dimples for where you drill the license plate holes. But if you guys know me, I don't run front license plates. I hate them. I think they make cars look hideous. And I've been pulled over by multiple officers for no front license plate, and I just tell them I'm not gonna put one on there. I've gotten tickets for it. I just pay them. It's just hideous. So gonna fill those. I brought some of this. I'll put the link in the description for it. It's just glazing putty, but that's pretty much what it's for, or it's glazing like icing. But yeah, let me scuff these up, put some of that on there, and get it ready to do the sealer and paint. I'm not going to paint in this video, but I want to get this ready because it needs to have some time to shrink. So I'll sand it down once I get it in there, and actually I'll scuff it, put some in there, sand it down so it's smooth. Then I'll let it sit for a day, and it'll shrink back a little bit. So I'll put another coat over it, and then it'll be good to go. So let's do that really quick. get this ready, this bumper ready for the Hellcat, because I want to get this thing painted this week. I also want to get the flares over there painted as well, and the little extension panels for the bumpers. So these guys up here need to get painted as well. They're just like a the light goes in them, but they're like a little extension panel, so these need to get painted as well. Looks like I didn't notice this defect before in the bumper. It just literally has a little rough spot right there. Looks like, you know, something happened right there and they noticed it almost, but I need to fix that as well. I'll hit it with some sandpaper. This side over here looks all right. So let's fix this as well, so everything is ready when it needs to get painted. And those are those little dimples for the license plate holes that need to get filled. The bumper is now ready to be sealed. I'm not exactly sure if there's anything else on it that I need to attend to, but I will find out once I seal it. So I did fill the dimples for where the license plate's supposed to be drilled. Both of those are nice and filled. Don't have to worry about those anymore. I also fixed this little area that had a weird thing. It was already like sanded right there. That was probably from the factory, because when I sanded it, there was another little nick that they kind of filled in. So I'm guessing that nick right there happened at the, like on the assembly line or whatever, and they just didn't fix it. So now it is fixed. Kind of a pain when you order this expensive of a bumper and you have issues like that. This was something I didn't like, but just any issues that you have to fix on brand new parts is kind of a pain. All the Hellcat pieces are now sealed. One thing I forgot to do was turn the time lapse on. So yeah, these are ready to go. I just need to hit them with some 600 and well, after they dry. Right now they're still wet, but man, if the paint comes out that nice, it will definitely, well, hopefully it comes out actually nicer. So the reason I did this was because the reason I sealed everything was because I filled the bumper divots for the license plate. And then also this little area was kind of messed up from the factory. It almost looks like, because they use a hot knife to cut all these little edges off after it comes out of the mold, what I think happened was they just kind of touched it with a hot knife. So now that's fixed and should be good to go. Probably be able to sand it in like 6 hours or so. So this stuff, usually you could sand it sooner, wet sand it, but I'm not really gonna paint it today. It really doesn't matter. I'm just glad that it is sealed. I'll probably end up sanding it Tuesday. Tomorrow is Monday. It's my grandma's birthday, so I'm gonna do something with her instead of working on cars. So we're gonna go up to Denver. But after I get back from Denver, on Tuesday, I could, you know, wet sand this with 600 grit, wet sand those with 600 grit, and everything should be good to go. I think since I'm painting this red though, since the Hellcat is red, I'm gonna use some kind of lighter base before I spray the red. I may test it out before I actually spray the panels, because how red works is if you put it on like black like this, it will look darker if you put it on something lighter. So if I sprayed the red on this black bumper right here, it would look darker than if I sprayed it on like a lighter, like a white base. So I'm gonna test it out on some different bases, see how it looks, how it matches with the car. I have some little cards. I need to cut a little hole in it. The one thing, the Sherwin-Williams, when I went there, they didn't have an actual chip for the color. So we pretty much just tried to match it up as close as we could with the flare that I brought. But that's gonna be the end of this video. I'm glad that I got these sealed. That is one step closer. Once I get the fenders and the hood, that will be so much easier to paint those separately, because it won't be such a big rush to paint everything. It's a lot easier painting stuff when it is, you know, you're not overwhelmed. Then you don't miss spots, you don't miss stuff, you don't mess up. And I'm actually think I'm getting a little bit better at painting the more I do it. So if you like these videos, subscribe button, comment below, thumbs up, and as always, see you guys tomorrow.